New construction looks perfect, right? Until the noise, the traffic, or resale nightmare kicks in. And guess what? Builders won't warn you because it's their job to sell homes. But I will, and I'm breaking down 5 places you should never buy new construction near unless you want years of regret and tens of thousands lost when you go to sell.
Let's start with airports. Here in the Austin area, Easton Park is a classic example. It's beautiful, amazing amenities, family-friendly vibe, but just a few miles away, there's Austin Bergstrom International Airport. Communities like Revelry in Del Valle and Sunchase, they market this huge perk of being super close to the airport, which seems very convenient, right? 10 minutes to the terminal, no sitting in traffic on Highway 71, no more expensive ride shares just to catch a flight. For frequent travelers, this is real gold. But here's the part most people don't really think about. The noise isn't occasional, it's constant and it's predictable. At 5 a.m. sharp, when the first flights take off, again at midnight when the red eyes come in, and all throughout the day as departures and arrivals keep the skies busy. If you look at the FAA noise contour maps for Austin, Easton Park sits in the zone where flights regularly pass overhead. That hum becomes part of the soundtrack of your life. Now, imagine the day-to-day. You're trying to record a podcast or a video, hop on a Zoom call, or just sip a cup of coffee on your patio, and every few minutes you have to pause for that roaring jet flying overhead. At first, you might laugh it off. In a year, it's draining. Your kids can't nap, your dog barks at every single plane, and your backyard barbecue turns into everyone waiting for the noise to pass before they can continue talking. And here's the kicker. When you go to sell, buyers notice this immediately. They don't fall in love with your kitchen first. They hear that plane that's overhead. And in their minds, they're not picturing family barbecues and lazy Sundays. They're picturing sleepless nights, cranky kids, and constant interruptions. That's a resale headache you can't stage away. Now, does that mean that no one should buy there? Not necessarily. For the right lifestyle, being close to the airport can be a huge win. But you'll need to ask yourself a question. Is this convenience really worth the trade-off for me and for my future buyer? Because the noise doesn't just fade away. It follows you and it follows your resale. Next up, we've got fire stations and hospitals. On the surface, this feels like one that's a no-brainer. Who wouldn't want quick access to emergency services? But here's the flip side. Sirens. They don't just happen at rush hour. They can go off at 2 a.m. right in the middle of a work call or just as you're settling in for the evening. Take Goodnight Ranch in Southeast Austin. They just opened up a brand new fire station and EMS station inside the community. That's fantastic for safety. But for light sleepers or families with young kids, the constant noise can take a toll. Over in Del Valle, where I was just talking about, they are also planning a future fire station on site. Most buyers see that as a perk until they realize what it actually feels like to live with an unpredictable siren as part of their daily life and soundscape. It's one of those things you rarely think about until you're in it. On paper, it looks great, but in practice, it can quickly become frustrating. And it's definitely not something that builders want to point out in their brochure. You know what I'm saying? So if you're looking at a community near emergency services, think long term. Quick response times are valuable, but the trade-off might be years of disrupted sleep and a harder resell. Now, in terms of that soundscape, I know all about that. I lived literally less than a mile away from a fire station with little kids, 3 little kids at the time. And yeah, I will attest to the fact that you will be woken up if you're a light sleeper like myself. All right, let's talk about the one nobody wants to bring up at all. Landfills. Home developers won't exactly brag about this, but there are major waste facilities in the Austin area like WM Austin Community Landfill off of Gills Road in Northeast Austin and the Texas Disposal Systems Landfill down in Creedmoor. Now, new home communities like Shadow Glen and Carolyn and Manor or the Trails of Wild Horse off of 290 and 130 aren't sitting directly on top of these sites, but they're close enough that depending on a windy day, okay, Even the smell can drift a little bit in those neighborhoods. And it's not just the odor. Think about the constant stream of garbage trucks and major roads early in the morning having congestion, noise operations, and overall the vibe knowing that your dream home is just a few miles away from a mountain of trash. That's not the kind of thing you can ignore once you're living there. Here's the reality. You might tour on a good day and think, no big deal, I don't smell anything. But wait until the summer months or those winds start to pick up like I spoke about, and hosting barbecues again in the backyard and you happen to smell a dumpster fire. That's not just annoying, it's the kind of thing you'll never unnotice once you've experienced it. And beyond the smell, there's the stigma. The minute people hear this neighborhood's near a landfill, it changes how they feel about the place. So before you buy near a landfill, do your homework. Drive the truck routes, visit on a hot afternoon, on a windy day, because what looks fine during a 20-minute model home tour can turn into a constant headache once you're actually living there. Near railroad tracks. Trains are one of those things that buyers don't think matter until the first horn, toot toot, happens at 2 a.m. I know y'all love my horn. Take North Line in Leander, for example, a huge master plan community being developed right now around the Metro Rail Station, or Presidio Station by Lakeline and the new townhomes going up just steps from the Leander stop. On paper, it sounds phenomenal, okay? You can drive there, drop your car off, and hit the train, right? Skip I-35 altogether. Easy access to downtown. But here's the part most buyers don't consider. Those same tracks also carry freight trains. And freights doesn't run on a tidy commuter schedule. It can roll through at midnight, 3 a.m., or right in the middle of dinner. And when it does, it's not quiet. Horns are blaring, the ground shakes a bit, those windows start to rattle, and conversations are stopped until the train passes. It's not just about the late nights either. Daily life gets disruptive too. Picture trying to drop off your kids at school and getting stuck, which I have before, getting stuck at the crossing while a mile-long freight crawls past you, or hosting friends on the patio and having a really good time in the evening, and then all of a sudden you hear blaring train horns pass through. There's also a safety factor there that rarely gets mentioned. Tracks this close to the neighborhood means kids, pets, and impatient drivers are crossing them constantly. And with Austin planning to expand commuter rail, the traffic on these lines isn't going to just slow down. And here's what you need to know. When it comes time to sell, buyers do notice this. Even if they like the house, the train rolling through during a showing makes them think twice. Some will walk away, others will expect a discount. So while living near the station sounds convenient, the truth is it comes with unpredictable interruptions, safety concerns, and long-term resale headaches that could possibly show up in flood zones or next to a retention basin. Flood risk is sneaky, especially in Central Texas, because builders are great at hiding that, not meaning to sometimes, or even knowing. Take Good Ranch in Southeast Austin. It's gorgeous. There's trails and green belts and ponds and places to look out onto nature. It's got water features. But if you look a little closer, those ponds aren't just for looks. They're detention basins built to hold stormwater when heavy rains hit. And zoom in just a little bit more, you're looking at Onion Creek, for example, Onion Creek watershed, which has a long history of serious flooding. If you've been in Austin long enough, you've seen it force families to evacuate, neighborhoods to cut off, homes damaged beyond repair. And this isn't just history in a book. During July 4th, 2025, floods in Central Texas hit really hard. Communities here in Travis County saw heartbreaking losses, with homes destroyed and families displaced. It was a stark reminder that flooding in this area isn't just a possibility, it's a reality. That weekend, some areas got more than 10 inches of rain in just a few hours. Entire neighborhoods were covered with water, and FEMA had to set up disaster centers across the counties to help families recover. For homeowners, it was a devastating day. You're settling into your dream home, and next you're worrying about how high the water's gonna rise and whether your family will be safe. That's why when you're looking for a new home, it's so important to understand the flood history of the area before you buy. And here's the big truth. Austin isn't just unlucky. It sits in what experts are calling Flash Flood Alley, one of the most flood-prone regions in the entire U.S. Our terrain and weather patterns means when rain comes, it comes fast and it overwhelms neighborhoods that look pretty safe at first on a sunny day and then can change entirely in hours. Even if your home has never taken on water, simply being in a flood zone can bring higher insurance costs, stricter financing requirements, and hesitation from buyers when it's time to sell. Most families don't want to live with the constant worry that every time there's a heavy rain, it could put them in jeopardy of their safety and risk their homes. That's why you should always pull up the Austin Flood Pro map and other resources before you buy, because the pretty pond or the green belt that's in the back, those things that are in the brochure are things you've got to go deeper on that they're not going to tell you about. So here's the bottom line. Every new build looks beautiful on the inside, but it's what's outside your front door that can make or break your daily life and your long-term investment. Airports, sirens, floodplains, landfills, trains, planes, automobiles. These aren't just little details to overlook, seriously. They're the things that will keep you up at night, thinking about the insurance costs and whether your house is still going to be standing if there's a storm. Now, does that mean that you should never buy in these areas? Not necessarily. For some people, convenience actually outweighs these drawbacks, and that's okay. You've got to go with both eyes open, because what feels like a small trade-off today can turn into a bigger deal breaker tomorrow. My job is to help you spot the red flags, okay? I'm waving them before you sign on that contract. So you end up in a home that fits your lifestyle, protects your peace, okay, that's priceless, and holds its value when you're ready to move on. So if you're thinking about building a new construction home or wanting to purchase one, let's talk. Click that link below. I help clients all the time walk through this process. Hey, did you find this video helpful? Then hit that like button. And if you're feeling my vibe, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so that you don't miss a thing. And I'll see y'all on the next one.